Lots of sunshine in Washington, D.C. as a 4-game weekend series comes to a close. And the Nationals try to keep hope alive. Nationals Park, Marlins got game 1. Nationals have won the last 2. Marlins fans are looking for a split and a season series win. Justin Nicolino and a red-hot Steven Strasburg. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. It's Miami and Washington. If you follow the Marlins, you know they've played well over the last 3 weeks. For the Nationals, not so much. Until a week ago, suddenly the Nationals have won 6 of 7. The magic number for the Mets is still at 8. It's a 7-game lead in the East.
Rich, it's amazing how this stuff works with just about every team in the major leagues. You get good starting pitching, all of a sudden you put together a streak. Right now, the Nationals getting good starting pitching.
And the Marlins would love to spoil the party. And, of course, the Marlins have done some damage against both the Mets and the Nationals. In this one, a really intriguing pitching matchup. You've got the young lefty going for the fish in Justin Nicolino. And Steven Strasburg has punched out, just 27 over his last 2 starts.
Yeah, Nicolino making his first ever appearance against the Nationals. He's been pretty hot, too. His last 6 starts, 2-2 with a .335 earned run average. Strasburg has been hot and cold in his career against the Marlins with that 9-7 record. This year, though, against Miami, Steven Strasburg is 0-2 with a .692 earned run average.
Stage is set in Washington, D.C. Justin Nicolino takes aim at the Washington Nationals. And Steven Strasburg on the hill for the Nats. First pitch coming up. On Fox Sports Florida, it's brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Vico Painting Contractors. For top quality work, excellent customer satisfaction, visit VicoPainting.com. By Checkers, epic meals, epic deals. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. It is a gorgeous day, overcast early. It has burned off. So we've got sunshine and baseball, Marlins and Nationals. Miami's lineup, which is brought to you by JM Lexus. D. Gordon, leadoff spot, hitting .332, second in the National League. Ichiro's in right. Christian Yelich is hot in left, so's Justin Bour at first. Marcelo Zuna in center. Derek Dietrich at third. Miguel Rojas has played quite well in the stead of Adeiny Echeverria, who's still out with that hamstring tweak. Tomas Telis, the switch-hitting catcher, and Justin Nicolino in the 9 spot. There is Steven Strasburg, who has been putting hitters away in the last 2 starts at an unbelievable pace. 27 strikeouts in those 2 starts.
You talk about those last 2 starts, Rich, but the start prior to that was against the Marlins in Miami. 4 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs. So the Marlins have given him fits, but he's been on the money his last 2 times out.
First pitch, a fastball is fouled back. It's brought to you by Pinch a Penny. D. Gordon and the Fish have been able to get a couple of runs in each of the 3 games so far in this series. A Martin Prado 2-run homer on Thursday. Yelich's 2-run homer on Friday. There's a bunt by Gordon, and a good one. Strasburg fields, not a chance. Gordon's got himself a hit, and D. Gordon on base once again. All 4 games of the series, Gordon has led off with a single.
How about that? That's amazing. 39 times this year, D. Gordon has led off a game with a base hit. The only hitter in the National League with more, Charlie Blackmon with the Rockies, 40 times.
Another bunt hit, another infield hit. Here is Ichiro. Of course, this game of great importance to the Washington Nationals, who after major stumbles, which sent them 9.5 back of the Mets, have suddenly regained their mojo and won 6 of 7 and clubbed 14 homers. Ichiro 1 for 11 and 2 for his last 20, so he's in a bit of a rut right now. Little roller up the line, and it's foul.
Well, a couple of nights ago, Scherzer was tough. Last night, Zimmerman was tough. So the Nationals and Matt Williams getting some good starting pitching.
Gordon peeking across the diamond as he retreats back to first. Wilson Ramos, very good throwing catcher. What you got on Steven Strasburg?
Well, we've done this many times over the years. The fastball's lively, a power curveball, and a very good changeup that has movement to it. Last time out for Strasburg, 8 innings, gave up a Kobayashi single. That's all. 1 walk and 14 strikeouts against the Phillies.
And in that game, Tommy, his swing and miss rate was at 55%, which is extremely high. And Ichiro swings and misses. There's strikeout number 1 for Strasburg. All right, defensively, the Washington Nationals line up this way. It's brought to you by BMW.
And there it is. Again, a bright sunny day. We saw the glasses out yesterday. Worth, Taylor, and Harper in the outfield. Escobar and Desmond on the left side, starting at second base, just his second major league start. His other start was against the Marlins also. Trey Turner, Tyler Moore at first, and Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Now Yelich. And Christian Yelich has had a nice series, 6 hits, a homer, has driven in 3, and you see the average right now pushing 290 at 289. That's a swing and a strike.
Well, we talked about it last night, trying to get D. Gordon to 200 hits. He has 187 now, and trying to get Christian Yelich to 300.
there are points on the calendar where you can stop and then push forward for Yelich's numbers. Gordon had a big lead but didn't run. Pitches out. Yelich, you go back to late May. Remember, he had the lower back injury. Since May 23rd, he's hit .318. If you go further up, Yelich, since June 27th, has hit .347.
That's because on June 26th, he was hitting .230.
Again, Gordon started to run and stopped. And Strasburg, sensing that, hurried to the plate. And he's fallen behind Yelich at 2-1.
You can see that D. Gordon is trying to distract Steven Strasburg a little bit.
The other thing about June 26th, it was the last game that Giancarlo Stanton played. So Yelich has been doing that without a lot of protection in the lineup. Stanton is here. Still no word on his return with just 2 weeks left in the season. Yelich sends that one down the left field line, and it peels into the seats. Stan continues to swing the bat with some pain, some discomfort. Gordon still at first. Ramos has thrown out 34% of the runners that have tried to steal on him this year. That's a nice clip. Major League average in the high 20s. He's running, and the pitch is low, and Gordon's got the bag. D. Gordon's 53rd. And a great pitch to run on. You get deep in the count, and you're going to get some breaking balls. And he got just that.
You can't always guess right, but when you do and you have D. Gordon's speed, there's no chance. And I think even if Ramos had come up with that cleanly, he didn't have a chance. You like to guess if you're a base runner, change up, curveball, maybe in the dirt. And D. Gordon was able to guess right that time.
That's a great look, isn't it? With the high 70s stirrups.
I'm telling you, it's a Vince Coleman look.
It is. It's Willie McGee. It's Vince Coleman. Bill North, the base stealers of the 70s and 80s. Yelich swings and misses, and Strasburg already has 2 strikeouts. Here comes Justin Bour.
This has been a pitch that has really, we talked about that power curveball. It's really been a good one for Strasburg over the last couple of starts. And he buries that one.
Bour against Strasburg. 10 at bats, 4 hits, and a home run. He's driven in 5. And now Ramos goes out to talk to his right-hander. He does have first base open, and Marcell Ozuna on deck. This might be about signs and the sequence of signs that the Nationals are using with D. Gordon at second. Bour, one of the many that has had a nice road trip and a solid series. A homer and 4 RBIs here in D.C. 2 homers, 8 runs driven in. Of course, the series started in New York. Marlins taking 2 of 3 against the Mets.
And what a great season series Bour has had against the Nationals. .333 average, 4 home runs this year, 12 RBIs.
I was reading a note the other day. Bour, who grew up in this area, played at George Mason, never went to a Nationals game. The first major league game he said he ever saw was the one he played in. There's his dad, the retired Secret Service agent with the Marlins cap on. And a strike to Bour.
Saw the difference in those last two pitches. The pitch before 89, that's that hard changeup that Strasburg throws, and then he came back with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Two-one. Moore hits a ground ball out towards the second baseman. That's Trey Turner over there, and he gets the out. Gordon left at second. This game underway and scoreless. Crowd still arriving, getting up from the Metro, walking down a couple blocks and right into Nationals Park. And here's the lineup that Matt Williams has presented. JM Lexus brings it to you. Michael Taylor, Yunel Escobar, Bryce Harper's in right, Jason Worth, 28 straight games getting on base. Ian Desmond has driven in a slew of runs in this series. Wilson Ramos, the catcher. Tyler Moore's at first. Trey Turner gets the start at second base. And Steven Strasburg. Look at Justin Nicolino.
And Nicolino will be getting a first look at the Nationals. The Nationals will be seeing Justin Nicolino for the first time. Been throwing well. He's been very consistent.
Taylor, Escobar, Harper. And a first pitch fastball is fouled back by Michael Taylor, who just might be the center fielder of the future for the Nationals. The injured Denard Span is a free agent next year. Taylor, a South Florida product, Westminster Academy, bunts it, and Nicolino makes a nice catch for the out.
We've seen Nicolino field his position pretty well in his 9 starts as a major leaguer, 10th one today. Here's a look at the defense for the Marlins, brought to you by BMW, with Yelich, Ozuna, and Ichiro in the outfield. Derek Dietrich over third base again. What a nice series and road trip Rojas has had. He's at short. D. Gordon, Justin Bour, and Tomas Telis gets the start.
Nicolino misses down low to Yunel Escobar, having one of his best offensive years in his career. You see a .319 average. He's hung in the top 4 of the batting race. And his hit total for him, a new career high. And Nicolino misses out.
I think watching as we have Justin Nicolino, his fastball needs to be down. Good two-seamer, cutter. He'll use that. Moving in on the right-handed hitters. Some change-ups and a few breaking balls.
Command, command, command. That was Something you heard as Nicolino climbed up the ranks after the Marlins acquired him in that big trade with the Blue Jays in the offseason between 2012 and 2013. And he ends up walking Escobar, and that's never a great idea with Bryce Harper on deck. And as we've talked about, MVP candidates, Harper certainly at the top of the list, and you can go by these numbers, homers, RBIs, and average. But when you get a lot deeper into Bryce Harper and what he's done, Tommy, he wins every category.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument for everybody else on that list, for Goldschmidt, for McCutchen, for Rizzo, and Greinke, but you're not going to win.
You're right. Well, Harper's hot. He's hitting 6 straight and has 5 homers in that span. That last pitch to Escobar, called low, just right on the edge at the knees. That's Adam Hamari behind the plate calling balls and strikes. Harper sends that one into center field, and it lands well short of Ozuna. Another hit for Harper, his 5th in the series. And I think, Tommy, we've seen in this series why Harper is going to be so tough to catch in the batting race. Yeah,
because he gets his hits, he'll take his walks, and that just keeps that and maintains that average, if not moves it up a little bit. Good pitch, but off the end of the bat. I think one of the key moments in the game last night was that 5th inning sac fly he hit, the tremendous at bat he had against Brad Hand. Nobody's going to make that play, just dropped in front of Ozuna.
So here's Jason Worth doing some housekeeping in the batter's box. And as we showed you earlier, Worth 28 straight games and getting on base. A career long for him, and he's made a nice living in the big leagues for a lot of reasons, and one of those is he's always been a really good on base guy as well as a power man. Ozuna in and now back, and it's over his head and off the wall. Escobar scores. Harper comes home. Gordon's throw. He is safe at the plate. Tomas Talis, Miami's catcher, trying to field that throw, ended up in front of the plate, and Harper slid right into him.
When you're playing a good team, the Nationals are a good team. They're still in a race. You can't make mistakes. Marcell Ozuna, this has happened a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Coming in on a ball that gets over his head. Big play for the Nationals. A huge base hit for Jason Worth.
There's the collision. Talis walked over to Miami's dugout.
Yeah, it's unavoidable because he's moving to try to catch the ball.
Right. He went over to the dugout, I think, to catch his breath and maybe collect himself, because he wobbled a bit after this collision.
That's a double for Worth. He takes third on the throw. But a misplay in center field.
And for Nicolino, it all started with the walk to Escobar. Infield's in. And here is Desmond, who has driven in 6 runs in this series. Desmond has homered in this series, and he's hit 18 on the season. Center field and deep. Ozuna gets back, now makes a run at it. There's the catch. Here comes Worth, and the throw is just up the line. Ozuna gave it a good shot. I mean, he had a ton of momentum coming towards the plate. It's a sacrifice fly. 7 runs driven in for Desmond in this series.
Yeah, remember Worth scored on that sac fly the other night off the bat of Jose Lobaton for the winning run in the 10th inning. Ozuna played this right, got the good momentum, but I don't think he would have gotten him anyway.
So just like that, right from the jump, the Nationals have a 3-0 lead. And here is Wilson Ramos. And Ramos fouls it off. Now the Mets, whom the Nationals are pursuing, won't play till later on tonight. It is the 8 o'clock game tonight. Mets and Yankees. Yankees won yesterday, and that allowed the Nationals to creep within 7.
That'll be a CC Sabathia for the Yankees and a Matt Harvey start.
And if you're the Nationals, you look at 7 and you know it's a big number. But if you can get within 3 for that final 3-game series against the Mets, then you got a shot. That's strike 3 called. Down goes Ramos. But up pop the Nationals with 3 runs on just 2 hits. On a sunny, warm day, we've got a Coors Light cold, hard fact. Season series is right down the middle. And as you look at the numbers, the Nationals, in terms of power, have hit 21 homers. It's been a while since the Marlins won that season series, 2011. Here's Ozuna. And Strasburg elevates a fastball. Derek Dietrich, Miguel Rojas here in D.C.
There was a period, Rich, starting in 2008. The Marlins were 14-3 against the Nationals. Then they were 12-6. Then 13-5. Then 11-7. But after that, not too good.
Strasburg comes back to get out in front of Ozuna. And a fastball right down the middle. Marlins return home on Tuesday. The Phillies will be waiting. It's a half-price Tuesday on the 22nd. 7:10 start. You can get half-price Lexus Legends Platinum tickets. Great discounts on tickets in several other categories. Go to Marlins.com today. Here's Derek Dietrich.
Dietrich's had a little history against Strasburg. 2 for 7, home run.
Strasburg making start number 21. And of course, his career with the much heralded Tommy John surgery and innings cap in 2012, serving as a backdrop as the Mets prepare for postseason and try to manage the young arms in their rotation, including Matt Harvey, who throws tonight. So I don't know if this is a Harvey day because it's a night game or because it's supposed to be a short start.
Don't know if it's a Harvey half start in the night game tonight. It's an interesting hypothetical, because it is still a bit of a long shot for the Nationals. But right now it seems the Nationals, let's say starting 4 pitchers, are in a little better position, a little better shape than the Mets starting 4.
Yeah, there was a time where every time Harvey or Syndergaard or DeGrom went out there, they were very, very good. But they've all kind of hit somewhat of a wall. Mets have just skipped DeGrom, and he'll throw again his next start. That was more just to give him a day's, I guess, a turn's rest more than anything. Max Scherzer watching from the rail. Rojas with the count 0-1. 5 hits in the series.
Tommy, I want to ask your take, because some of the old school pitchers think these young guys don't throw enough. Some guys think they throw too much. Guys like Tom Seaver, they threw a ton of innings. Nolan Ryan, they threw a ton of innings. Do you think the young guys don't throw enough, or do you think they throw too much?
Well, I think that the fine line is they don't throw as many innings. There's probably more max effort guys now, because you had pitchers like a Seaver that would throw hard, but there were times he'd go out and pitch maybe with not his best stuff. And keep in mind, he was pitching on every 4th day, 3 days rest. I don't think pitchers throw enough. I think they don't build up the strength in the arm.
It's really interesting to hear the different takes on the whole pitching thing right now, because some guys say these young guys need to throw more, and that's why they get hurt, because they don't throw enough. And some guys say that they need to throw less. They need to kind of baby the arms a little bit. It's an interesting thing going on right now, because there's a rash of young guys who a lot of teams seem to be really monitoring their innings.
1-2 pitch coming to Rojas. To me, the variable, Tommy, you talked about max effort. To me, the variable is velocity. The velocity in the game on the mound has jumped so high in such a quick time in the last 7 to 8 years. Now everybody out of a bullpen throws 95, 96 on up. Starters with such velocity. Young high school players, college players. All of a sudden throwing in the mid-90s is rather pedestrian. Throwing in the mid-90s 10, 15, 20 years ago, you were one of the best in the league. On to short. Desmond's throw to first is in time. Rojas is out, but Dietrich arrives at third base. And Tomas Talise comes up.
And I think the one more thing just to add to that, good base running too by Dietrich to realize he could get to third on that ground ball, is that you just have so many guys who haven't learned how to pitch because they throw hard. They've gotten by in the minor leagues throwing an inning or two because they throw hard. And then they get up to this level and max effort, they throw hard. And that's why there's so many bullpens filled with guys who throw 95 plus.
Tommy, I think you hit on it exactly. There seems to be so much more importance on guys that just throw hard. It's not necessarily guys that can pitch. And guys are having to learn how to pitch in the big leagues. They have the velocity, but they don't know how to pitch. And I think that's the change in the dynamic that's happened over the last, I don't know, 15 years or so.
A great example of a guy that's done that. We just saw him, Max Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer, that one lined into the seats. When Scherzer was at Arizona in his first year or two in Detroit, man, it was high 90s and try to hit it. Now you watch him pitch, and he lives in the mid 90s, and he mixes it up with really good off speed stuff.
Yeah, minor league relievers that'll tell you right now that they get by in the minor leagues under poor lighting by just throwing fastballs.
I've been able to get by with poor lighting all my life, Tommy. Counts 2-2. Three 0 Nationals on top.
It's one of those topics I think that there's a lot of research being done, but I think we really won't know for 15-20 years or so as to if there is a definitive answer.
Desmond on the run, and it gets by Moore. Talise is racing for second. Miami has a run. The ball ended up behind the tarp, which is out of play. And Talise resides at second. Miami gets their first run of the ball game, and Ian Desmond commits an error.
I would guess an infield hit and then an error, but we'll have to see. Would have been a bang play. Tyler Moore tried to pick the short hop. It was a good effort by Desmond. The throw does have him beat. So we'll see how that's ruled. It's a 26th error for Desmond, but he's only made 6 since the All-Star break. He's been much better.
Yeah, he had an awful April and May, and you're right, he's cleaned it up lately.
And it's an E6 all the way.
So here's Nicolino. It's a nice run to get against Strasburg. A run without a hit. Nicolino takes away. 1 for 18 is Nicolino. Nice job by Dietrich navigating the base pass.
Yeah, getting over to third on the Rojas ground ball out. You were talking, Rich, about some of the Mets starters. Syndergaard last night, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. So, yeah, they've gotten hit around a little bit, yet the old 42-year-old Bartolo Colon continues.
I'm telling you, I think he's going to be important in the postseason. Nicolino strikes out. Strasburg has punched out 4. Miami gets a run but trails it here in D.C. 3-1. Down on the water here in D.C. And we're hopeful that you've got a strong fan photo, and you can hashtag it FLDataStrongFan, and you can become part of the telecast. You and a friend will get to call the 7th and the 8th inning of this ball game by phone.
We've been working on that hookup on that phone line all day.
You know what? I thought I misread that fine print on the bottom of the screen.
What's it say?
Something about the commissioner and sole discretion and dissemination. All of those things. Oh, well, maybe we'll show your picture. Tyler Moore, the speedy Trey Turner, and Steven Strasburg. Justin Nicolino got himself in some trouble by walking Yunel Escobar with one out. That back in the first. Bryce Harper then singled. That one to center. Ozuna makes the catch. Tyler Moore is out.
See if Nicolino can get back in his rhythm, because if you think about it, the base hit by Harper was off the end of the bat, not hit that well. Worth hit the ball well, but it was misplayed. So he really got in some trouble. So see if he can get back in his rhythm here.
This guy is a really intriguing player. Another young talent that the Padres traded away in the offseason, trying to gather veterans and big names. And Turner, who is a Lake Worth native, Park Vista High School, had an outstanding career at North Carolina State. One of those guys, Tommy, that, you know, scouts when he was in high school, college recruiters, maybe really wasn't all that heralded, always had to prove himself.
But he always had that speed.
Wow, did he? 55 stolen bases, led the NCAA as a freshman. That was back in 2012. And by the time he was done at North Carolina State, after his third year, the Padres took him in the first round, 13th overall. In the air and down the line, and Ichiro sees it up in the seats.
Turner getting a start today. Also, Rendon under the weather, not feeling good at all. That's one of the reasons Rendon's not at second base, and Trey Turner, who's a natural shortstop, he's at second base.
It's amazing. The Padres have had problems at second base. Jed Jerko has not had the best of years. Didn't have a great one last year. And they traded away Jace Peterson and this guy. D. Gordon on the scene, makes the catch.
A leaping D. Always fun to watch. That's footwork involved, timing, a little bit of everything. And D. Gordon was able to pull it down.
We get to watch him every night, but you hear broadcasters and scouts who see him maybe a dozen times a year, and they have the same feeling that we have. There are players in baseball that you watch that really look like they're having fun every night playing the game. And Gordon's one of those guys.
Yes, he is. In a year where it hasn't been a whole lot of fun.
Amen.
That's even harder to do.
That's a great point.
It's easy to have fun when you're 12 games up.
Strasburg lines it foul. Bryce Harper there, or a reasonable facsimile, making the play, feeding the kids with a souvenir.
Look out. I'm not even sure Matt Williams or Randy Norris saw that ball.
Gordon picks it up, flips it on over to first. And Justin Nicolino, a 1-2-3 inning. Guess who's coming to lunch next? D. Gordon. Background, still a lot of building going in and around this area. Crazy 8 ticket offer. The last one you've got is on Wednesday night, Phillies and Marlins. Just fill up at Chevron with 8 gallons or more, and you get an $18 Lexus Legends or $28 home plate box ticket. Bring your receipt from Chevron to the Marlins Park ticket office. So Phillies and Fish. Braves as well are coming in on the final homestand. And D. Gordon, already dirty from head to toe, has a bunt hit and a stolen base.
Let's see, in 2 innings, made a couple of really nice plays at second. Bunt base hit, the stolen base. And for the 4th straight game in this series, he's led off the game with a base hit.
Has hits in 7 straight now. His average sitting at .333. Bryce Harper, however, has singled as well. I don't know that Escobar can get much closer. Look where he's standing now. Gordon hits a pop in a shallow left. Desmond out. Worth is in, and Worth makes the catch. And the Nationals retire D. Gordon. Now Ichiro, who struck out back in the 1st. Small sample size theater. Ichiro in his matchup against Steven Strasburg. Ichiro's had a little bit of success. 4 for 8.
The tough part about Ichiro's year this year he's had this 2 for 21 is about the third really down spell he's had. He had that long offer. He had another 2 for 20 in that area. And now he's going through one of those again.
Fastball is up, and he fouls it back. He's sitting on 2,933 hits. So 67 from 3,000. And he punches out here. That's a perfect pitch. Right there on the black. Steven Strasburg against the Marlins. Tommy, you touched on this.
Yeah, we did. It's really been interesting. He's had a few games where he's actually left early in a game because of various injuries. He's this year 0-2 with a 6.92 ERA. But then on the other hand, he's had some really good starts against the Marlins. And an unearned run and 5 strikeouts so far today. He's throwing well.
Yelich, a strikeout victim back in the first.
That's a tough pitch to take as a left-handed hitter. You're geared for his fastball, and he throws that hard changeup.
He's got 32 strikeouts in his last 18 innings.
There it is again. You see the differential. Change up about 89, fastball 96, 97.
Now, watching him right now, Tommy, he went behind the mound. He was flexing, kind of stretching his back. Twice against the Marlins this year, he has had upper back issues that has forced him out of games. Look out, Preston Wilson. Did you see that one coming, Press?
Saw it. All I know was the guy in front of me flinched. I'm glad I got the screen right here. Yeah, I had no shot right there. It'd have been a bad flight home if that would have.
Preston would have been using all the ice.
Yeah, here's the 2-2. Yelich off of Strasburg, and Christian Yelich has got himself a hit. So for Yelich, he's hit in 6 straight, and he continues to rise as far as the batting average.
Coming into today with the 5-game streak, this ball kicks off to the infield hit. 4 of the 5 games he's had multi-hits, 2 or 3 hits. So this continues a strong September. Christian Yelich hitting near 350 in the month.
Now Bohr, and it extends the inning, gives Bohr an at bat. Yelich now at 290 with that hit. And Bohr pulls one into right field. Yelich going to go from first to third. Harper's throw is cut. A couple of 2-out hits.
I love watching Christian Yelich go first to third. Dustin Bohr now gets his 5th career hit of Steven Strasburg too. But watch. Ball just gets by, and then Yelich knows that Harper's deep enough. Nice strides, good turn, excellent speed.
Marcell Ozuna, who struck out back in the second. And Strasburg, that's the pitch he struck him out on, looking. A fastball right down the middle.
You go back to when Marcell Ozuna was recalled. Remember, he was sent down for about a month. He's played 30 games, hitting right about 240 since that time.
Ozuna, a liner, and Turner has it. Boy, you can't hit it much harder than that.
Just bad luck. Wow.
Renovations. 3-1 Nationals on top. A reminder, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted, any form. Counts, descriptions of the game may not be disseminated. Not the express written consent of the Marlins, yada, 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 yada. That's the legalese. A little shade in the heat in D.C., although it's not that warm.
Now, we've had, you mentioned it last night, Rich, we've had beautiful weather on this road trip in New York and here in D.C.
72 degrees, game time temperature. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Preston Wilson, Miguel Rojas, Justin Bour, and there's one out. Taylor in that leadoff spot for the Nationals. John Stolzer is our producer. Gary Nicholas, our critically acclaimed director. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. Bill Wadlick on Foxbox. And John Chimchuk is our baseball historian here in Washington, D.C. on this beautiful Sunday.
And all, Rich, are generally well liked.
Yes, though not as much as the start of the season. And they will say the same about us. Escobar to left. Yelich retrieves it off the wall. Escobar around first. Throw to second. This plays out. They called him out. Escobar says safe. Gordon with the tag. Escobar wants a replay. How about that throw from Christian Yelich and a great swipe tag by D. Gordon.
It all starts, though, you've got to play this ball well as it comes off the wall. Yelich does. He scoops it up, turns and fires. The throw a little bit of a short hop. D. Gordon swipes him with the tag. I'm not so sure he's out, though. Let's see if this angle gives us a different story. Hard to tell if that foot was on the bag when he swiped him on the ankle.
It's close. The Nationals have not said they're challenging yet, and they won't challenge. Escobar on his way to the dugout. And much, the replay coaches, and that's what they're called, have started to adopt the thinking of what is an umpire thinking back in New York. Is there enough evidence to overturn this?
Well, it's just great throw and then catch and tag by D. Gordon. There's the slide. It appears the heel is on the bag, but really hard to tell. Very close.
And the other thing that is working here, Tommy, you're up 3-1.
And it's early in the game.
It's early in the game. If you aren't 100% sure you're going to get that call, do you want to lose your challenge over it?
Do you think, Rich, over the last couple of years with replay, do you think we've seen a little more gamesmanship in the challenges from the managers?
Without a doubt, and I think the Marlins have been ahead of the curve in that sense, Tommy. Pat Shine, who is a really good baseball man, was brought on as the Marlins replay coach. Now, he also does a lot of other things with the team, but the fact that he's
saying we don't get a lot of shots of Pat Shine because he's back in the bowels of the clubhouse somewhere with the replay.
But the Marlins put him in charge of replays, and the fact that he's a baseball guy and a sharp baseball guy, he's been able to, from the very start, get out in front, make those tough decisions, and be one of the best in baseball. Bryce Harper bounces out. It's a nice inning from Justin Nicolino with help from Christian Yelich and D. Gordon. Tuesday, South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready at 6:30 for the Phillies and the Fish. Derek Dietrich, Miguel Rojas, Tomas Talis against Steven Strasburg, who zips in a fastball. Now, Miami has got 3 hits. A bunt single, an infield hit by Christian Yelich, Justin Bour's single. Gordon's hit was that bunt single in the first. Dietrich walked and ended up scoring the only run for Miami. Moved to second on a wild pitch. Moved to third on a ground ball out. and scored on the Talise ball that Desmond threw away. Dietrich is saying it hit him in the foot. That is a reviewable play. And so you see the Marlins are on the phone. You can review this. Let's see if it hit him in the foot. Oh, it's tough. That's a tough one because Strasburg's foot actually gets in the shot. Here's a side look.
See, that looks like it hits the dirt first. The other look a little different.
There's no visual evidence to support the claim of Derek Dietrich. So it's a ball. And here's the 2-1 pitch. Watch Strasburg's foot come right into the shot. There's the ball. Can't tell, and I don't think it hit him. The days of checking for shoe polish are long gone.
Long gone, yeah. One thing the Marlins have been able to do, look at that, 61 pitches already for Strasburg.
Remember, we had the numbers with Dietrich. He's been hit almost that many times in New Orleans as well. So, been somewhat of a painful year.
In more ways than one.
Five strikeouts for Strasburg. The 27-year-old who pitched for the late great Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn at San Diego State.
Hard to imagine when he first came to Tony Gwynn at San Diego State. He was about 30 pounds heavier. And that's where he really learned how to control his diet, to eat properly, and get in really good shape.
Dietrich strikes out. That's number 6 for Strasburg. And then here comes Miguel Rojas.
Good fastball.
That's a four-seamer that has a little bit of giddy up to it.
A little hop to it at the end.
None of those hits were loud or for extra bases. That one is rolled into center field. And Rojas. A one-out single. Here comes Talise.
Well, Miguel Rojas 6 for 13 in this series. 3 of those 6 hits doubles. And now a 6-game hitting streak. Doing a nice job filling in for Adeiny Echeverria.
Talise, a switch hitter, a guy whom the Marlins picked up from the Texas Rangers, the Sam Dyson trade. Always been a nice offensive catcher. Talise got some time with the Rangers this year and last year.
Prior to the Marlins acquiring Talise, he had 70 games at Round Rock, AAA for Texas. Hit over 290.
So that's what the Gecko does when he's not in the commercials. Looks like he's chatting up some young lady there with that British accent of his. Right? Am I missing something? That one fell back to the screen.
Look at that. Call me. There's a couple of mascots down there. At least they're not right behind home plate.
Yeah, like your buddy Dinger in Denver. Screech is the name of the eagle. Not a canary, but an eagle. We'll have the racing presidents here.
I don't think a bald eagle either.
No. I believe that would be Sam. 1-2 coming. And Talise on the ground. Turner gets it out. Desmond turns it. And Miami done quickly in the fourth. 3-1 Nationals. Coming up on the outside, I believe that's Calvin Coolidge, the latest addition. And Calvin Coolidge, they've added some presidents. I mean, it's not just the fearsome foursome here anymore. Bill is not Clinton, that's William Taft.
I think they should have put William on the back. It's a little deceiving there. Because when you speak of William Taft, you say William Taft. You don't call him Bill Taft.
Right. I like the idea of the obscure president's race. You know, I mean, bring Harrison in, maybe Gerald Ford. I think Millard Fillmore might be a guy that people could get behind.
Could be.
Van Buren. See, now the truck's going wild with Chester A. Arthur and all the obscure presidents. Jason Worth. And Nicolino cuts one in.
I think you had to spend X amount of days in the White House to qualify for the race.
I think that eliminates one of the Harrisons. Worth swings and misses. Tommy, you talked about Justin Nicolino after that first inning in which the Nationals got 3 runs. And you wanted to see if this young pitcher could gather himself and start to get outs, and he's done just that.
There's a good breaking ball, and as I mentioned in that first inning, the hardest hit ball was the one by Worth. And other than that, he has come back and made some really good pitches. So this is a good sign when you have a young pitcher out there, 23 years old. Remember, making his first appearance against Washington. He's done a nice job.
Ian Desmond, a sacrifice fly in the first. One of the big plays in this ball game was the line drive that Worth hit to center with 2 on and 1 out. It was a ball that was misplayed by Marcell Ozuna. It sailed over his head. To left, Yelich looking up in the sun, and he finds it, bangs into the wall. You could tell Yelich for a moment as he approached the track was having some trouble finding that baseball.
The other thing, Rich, you and I have been able to, up where we are, our vantage point, feel the breeze. There's a pretty good breeze today, I think more so than in the previous 3 games.
Yelich has had a nice game out there. That throw in which he cut down Escobar was terrific. One thing you hope for Yelich's sake is he has moved over and played center field. You hope it does not cost him in the Gold Glove voting, because now the Gold Glove is given to a center fielder, a left fielder, and a right fielder.
To me, it just wouldn't be right to have that interfere, and I know what you're saying, but it just wouldn't be right because he's played a good center field the games he's been in center.
Oh, I'm with you on that completely. And it should, to me, be a badge of honor that he's a good enough outfielder.
There are a lot of left fielders who can't play center field.
Amen. That's where I was headed. "28 games in center field." But he has that outstanding range, great closing speed. Won him a Gold Glove last year, and I think he's deserving of it again this year. And in Marlins Park, left field is like center field. There's so much room in that left center gap. Into the back, Gordon in pursuit. D. Gordon.
Oh, beautiful.
Nifty play by Gordon. Another guy that deserves a Gold Glove this year. That's like D. Gordon running a post pattern. Ah, sweet. and by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over. Busy sports Sunday in the not the Metroplex. Where am I? I'm not in Dallas. The Beltway.
We're in the Beltway.
Sorry.
Or
DC Metro area.
DC Metro area.
That's what I wanted to say. You got baseball. You got the Redskins playing. Steven Strasburg against Justin Nicolino.
The Marine Corps DC Marathon was run this morning. We missed it.
The Pope is here on Tuesday for a 3-game series. Fastball, a strike. It's 2-1. The Pope has been very good on the road this year. There are a lot of cities out here waiting for that. Nicolino, a line drive. Desmond makes the catch.
Well, New York, Philadelphia, I think are other stops. Cuba.
Here's D. Gordon. And September has been a great month for Gordon. In 18 games for Gordon this month, he's hit in 16 of them. And a .361 average in the month overall. A bunt base hit and a pop out with a stolen base. Shortens the bunt. Takes a strike. Ball and a strike. There's your September. One and two. Bryce Harper in this game is 1 for 2. He's hitting .340. And Gordon at .333. Gets a piece of it, and Strasburg gets him out. All right, now we put the gecko to work, right? Bring him on. The Geico Marlins moment. 2 homers against the Mets. One of those off the scoreboard at the Big Shea in 2006. And that a Marlin pitching record. Much to the delight of the Gecko, who looks like he's a left-handed hitter, Tommy. That went foul back.
I think he throws right-handed, though.
He's like a Christian Yelich?
Yeah.
Although not able to play center field like Yelich. Ichiro fouls it off. Ichiro has struck out twice.
I think if you get Ichiro in the right environment, I think he's actually at a point where he's played way more than he thought he would, and I think it shows a little bit at times in the way he swings the bat. But if you get him in the right situation where he's going to get his spot start every now and then, come off the bench, pinch hitting.
Strasburg, a high fastball, and he has struck Ichiro out 3 times. Halfway through, it's 3-1 Washington. A bit of a breeze here at Nationals Park. At Fox Marlins, place to go to follow on Twitter and Instagram. Go behind the scenes with the Fox Sports Florida and the telecast. National fans saw their ball club get 3 runs in the first, and into the bottom of the 5th, Justin Nicolino gets Tyler Moore, Trey Turner, and then Steven Strasburg. That one's pulled and hit pretty well down the line into the corner, and it's a foul ball. Just foul. It banged off the fence. Turner on his way back to the plate. Not much argument coming from the Nationals dugout, and here is why. Now, we lost it in that shot. Lost it in that shot. But Ted Barrett, third base umpire, was on it.
And there was no argument from Bob Henley, the third base coach of the Nationals.
Or Don Henley. There you get a look at it. Oh, and 2. Nicolino now 4 innings. The 3 runs all came in the first, and 2 of the 3 hits were in the first. A walk and 2 strikeouts.
I think he's been able to mix things up, keep everything down. And that's why he's had success since that first inning. Just 1 walk in the game, and that came in the first inning. Walked Escobar.
Tom, you see that sign right behind home plate there? Just to the right of the Nationals Park. Yoga in the outfield. I know I've seen a lot of things in the outfield. I've not seen yoga.
I can picture that. Bring your mat, buy a ticket. That'd be good for you and I, you know, after a game. Just go down, stretch a little bit.
He could lead he could lead all the drills and kick everybody's butt in yoga in the outfield. On Tuesday, back home for Miami. And we've got that game, 6:30 start. Marlins live. Aaron Harang, Tom Kohler. Rojas.
Trying to think where we were a few years ago. And they had, it was either Houston or Arizona. It was a retractable dome ballpark where they had a night at the ballpark where fathers and sons and daughters could camp out. I think they had a movie, played a movie after the game.
I've seen that, an overnight at the ballpark. Trey Turner. The count 0-2. Nicolino out in front.
Talked about Turner, the things he can do in Double A and Triple A this year. He kind of moved around because he was with both organizations, San Diego and Washington. But if you combine everything, he hit over 320.
And he drives that one into right center field. That's a hit. Ozuna picks it up. And now a pretty good cat and mouse game should ensue. You do have Strasburg as the hitter, so see how Matt Williams wants to play it. Does he just simply bunt him to second? Does he have him try to swipe second?
You know, for Trey Turner, of course, not a lot of playing time, but that's his 3rd major league hit. 3 for 14 now. And you just have the feeling there'll be many, many more to come.
Strasburg will bunt. Nicolino gets the outs. Turner's now at second. That gives Michael Taylor an at bat with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. 3-1. Nationals try to keep hope alive. And they'll need some help tonight if they can beat the Marlins today. They need the Yankees to beat the Mets tonight. That could bring them within 6 games with exactly 2 weeks to play.
And I think overall, if you look at the big picture, if you're a Nationals fan, you just, and if you're the Nationals, you can't do it. But as a fan, you just want to get it to 3 by those final 3 games in New York to give yourself a chance. Now you think of it, if it gets down to 6, let's say, going into next week, then you're just trying to chop off 3 in that week as opposed to looking at 6.
Taylor's had a productive year. I mean, people focus on his defense and speed, but he's hit 14 homers and has 14 doubles.
A while back, you and I had a Rookie of the Year discussion, National League. A lot of candidates, but I think all of a sudden, for me, coming to the forefront has been Chris Bryant with the Cubs.
A lot of big hits.
A lot of big games for them. He's stepped up.
Nicolino trying to get in on the hands of Michael A. Taylor. He and Matt Dendecker, both from Westminster Academy in Fort Lauderdale. To center. Ozuna reaches down and snares it. And Nicolino, after giving up 3 in the first, has kept it right there. Ball game in the outfield, and for that we turn to our resident outfielder, Preston Wilson.
Guys, Christian Yelich won the Gold Glove last year, and it's not because it's so flashy. It's that he does everything right. Plays the ball off the wall there, throws an accurate throw into second base, 1 hop, just like they teach you. This is every coach's dream. His routes are so clean. His drop step goes back in a straight line. He gets depth on the ball better than any other outfielder on this team. He's a Gold Glover, and he's consistently showing it. Like I said, it may not pop off the field as far as his attributes, the arm, the speed, but he does everything right. and everything is absolutely perfect.
Yelich to right. Harper is there. And Preston, what makes that so impressive for me is the fact that Yelich was a first baseman in high school. He wasn't a guy that had played a lot of outfield until he signed and got to the minor leagues.
He's a guy that's worked so hard, and he takes pride in his defense as much as he does in his offense, and it shows. There are a lot of guys who, when they get converted from infield to outfield, they just think they just got to stand out there and catch the ball. He works at it. I see the work he puts in, taking ground balls, learning his routes, getting that extra work in, and it shows up, and he earned a Gold Glove last year.
You're right, Rich, about his throwing in high school. He actually had a below average arm, but worked so hard on getting arm strength. He's become a Gold Glove.
He still has somewhat of a long throwing motion, but the accuracy from him is always there. He always throws the ball within that 1 to 2 feet range where the fielder just has to catch it and apply the attack. He's always throwing the ball right on target.
Justin Bour. And Steven Strasburg misses out with a fastball. Bour singled in the third, bounced out in the first. Strasburg has limited Miami to just 4 hits, all of them singles. Only 2 have left the infield.
He's been able to minimize his pitches a little bit too. Double play helped in the fourth, because at one point you were wondering how deep he would get into the game. But 87 pitches now, and here he is in the 6th inning.
Bour chases a high fastball. 8 strikeouts now for Strasburg. That at 96 miles an hour. And you see on Fox Tracks how elevated it was.
Hard to lay off that pitch if you're looking fastball, thinking you might get it, and all of a sudden he elevates it like that. It's a tough pitch to not swing at.
Now Ozuna. Ozuna got a breaking ball, and he blasts it left field and deep and gone over the bullpen. And Marcell Ozuna brings Miami within a run.
There are so many times that Ozuna jumps on that first pitch, and it's not a good pitch to hit. That one was a breaking ball that stayed up. He jumped on it, his eyes lit up, and home run number 9 for Marcell Ozuna. Here comes the curve, and there it is, staying belt high. Not where Strasburg wanted to throw it.
And it looked like it crossed up his catcher, Wilson Ramos. If you watch that,
he was reaching for fastball.
Absolutely. Ozuna had a better idea that it was a hanging breaking ball than Ramos did. Watch Ramos.
Yeah, he was crossed up.
Ball and a strike. His career numbers against Strasburg, his 2nd home run. Dietrich has walked and struck out. A 1-1 coming. A high fastball fouled back. No swing. "93 pitches in" is Steven Strasburg, and the Nationals bullpen is starting to mill around. Some guys are stretching.
Yeah, you can always tell it's that time of game. You look down the bullpen, you see 4 or 5 guys loosening up, waiting for the call, waiting for that phone booth phone to ring down there.
Rojas on deck, and Ozuna homer has made it a 1-run game. And Dietrich has worked the count full to 3-2. Breaking ball got him. Froze him. 9 strikeouts for Strasburg. But Miami climbs within a run. Marcell Ozuna is 9th of the season. To learn more, log in and use your bonus code, Capitol Hill. The renovations of the Capitol building continue. Marcell Ozuna, a long homer to left. And so 3-2. Justin Nicolino, ever since that first inning, has been really good. Here's Escobar. He's been on base twice. He's walked and singled, though he was thrown out trying to stretch that single to a double on the Yelich throw and the Gordon tag in the 3rd. The National League East postseason situation for the last week and a half, for all intents and purposes, looks like the Mets are headed to the postseason. They've got a 7-game lead over the Nationals going into this one. They play the Yankees tonight, but there's some other races that have become interesting over the last week. The American League wild card race is a fun one. I mean, the wild card race, all of a sudden, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, there's a liner into left for a base hit. The Angels are hot right now. They find themselves a game and a half behind Houston. Houston has stumbled.
Yeah, there's a good look at the playoff picture. Houston stumbling. The team that has really made a jump has been the Texas Rangers. I know you and I talk about some of the acquisitions that different teams made. The acquisition of Texas acquiring Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels won last night. He's 4-1 in his 9 starts as a Ranger.
Of course, the Yankees are the leader in that wild card run. End of the bat and a weird spin, and it gets by Dietrich into left field. Yelich picks it up. How bizarre is that? Dietrich started to his right, and it ended up going by his left side. It's a base hit. Just a wicked spin on this ground ball.
That's your basic cue shot. Off the end of the bat, as soon as it hits the ground, it spins in the other direction. Dietrich, Brooks Robinson wouldn't have had a chance on this one the way it was spinning. And I use that analogy because we're near Baltimore. But just a crazy hit. It's a base hit for Harper, his second today.
Well, you think about a couple of the hits against Nicolino. The ball that Worth hit that got over Ozuna's head, it was crushed, but it probably should have been caught. And now this. And here's Worth. And so Nicolino's going to have to try to work through this.
And remember, the base hit in the first inning by Harper was off the end of the bat into shallow center field.
Worth drove in 2 with what was a double in the first. That one pulled wide of third. Now Bryce Harper is the leading hitter in the National League. He wants all the hits he can get. Very nice. He's been watching.
That's pretty cool.
Bohr's done enough damage against the Nationals that
yeah, we told you Bohr about a .340 hitter this year against Washington with 4 home runs.
Miami's infield up the middle is halfway. Corners are in. And the count's 0-2 to Worth. Scott McGuff in Miami's bullpen. And Worth strikes out. That's a big out.
That's a good pitch because Justin Nicolino, we've talked about, keeps everything down. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a contact guy. But all of a sudden, he went up with his fastball and got Worth to chase it. Good pitch. I think this is by design, too.
You see Worth had his designs of driving that ball into right field. Now Desmond, who has been driving in runs this whole series, 7 of them total, including a sacrifice fly in the first inning of this one. At the corners, Harper at first, Escobar at third. Infield looks for 2. And Nicolino misses in. (2-0).
Nicolino thinking about keeping the ball down, maybe a 2-seamer, maybe a changeup. Try to get that double play ball.
Desmond swings and misses.
Good changeup.
81 miles an hour.
Even though Nicolino, as we mentioned, not a strikeout pitcher, struck out Worth, and he has Desmond up there, who has struck out 170 times this year.
The 2-1, and he got that. 88 miles an hour.
2 choices. Does he go up with fastball? Or does he go with the changeup again?
The changeup could get him a strikeout or B, a ground ball. But you just saw him strike Worth out on that elevated fastball. You see the strikeout numbers. 2-2.
Went up with the fastball. Desmond a little more likely to hit that fastball up in that area than Worth.
That last foul ball, Tommy, seemed innocuous unless you're a robotic camera. Yow. All of a sudden, someone's feeling a little dizzy there. That camera mounted on the screen. Another 2-2.
Another fastball. See, the other thing that Nicolino can do is cut that fastball. So there are a lot of choices here. Hey, give Tomas Talis credit today. He's done a good job behind the plate.
Harper at first, Escobar at third. 1 out. And he came in with a fastball and just missed. Well, maybe not just, but he did miss.
That's as good a velocity as Nicolino is going to get right there, 92.
Let's see if Harper's running from first on 3-2 with 1 out. Not running, and it's out. And they're loaded for Ramos. And you like the look of Nicolino, though, you know, nodding his head. Still looks confident. He made some good pitches in that at bat.
This is a really interesting compared to yesterday in the rough inning that Brad Hand had when he walked 4. Even Dan Jennings said after the game that yes, he probably left him in too long. This is a different situation because Nicolino still appears to be in command. He didn't miss by much, and you want to see him work in this situation. Remember the hit that Harper got, a squibber off the end of the bat.
He's only thrown 16 pitches this inning. And number 17 is a strike. Hand on the other hand, so to speak, was in the upper 30s.
Threw over 40 in that inning, yeah.
And that was the juncture which the Marlins decided to leave him in. He was up 37, 38 pitches at that time.
And you don't have a real speedy runner at the plate in Wilson Ramos. You do, however, have a guy who's second in the National League in RBIs for catchers.
And has the power to ride one out of here. He's hit 13 home runs. Middle infield back for 2. Right center field. Ichiro is there. This will score a run. Escobar comes home. And the Nationals are back up by 2.
The Nationals, Rich, in this series have hit some very important sacrifice flies.
Yeah, their last 2 runs in this game have come on sacrifice flies. Desmond in the first, and now Ramos.
I remember the other night they won the game in the 10th inning on a sac fly.
So Harper now at second. He's visiting with D. Gordon. And Desmond at first. And Nicolino goes after Tyler Moore, who's flied out and bounced out. Moore to left. And it's hit well. Yelich. It's gone. A 3-run shot. And the Nationals crack it open.
Well, we talked about it the other day, Rich, the production that Matt Williams is getting from first base with Ryan Zimmerman not able to play. Clint Robinson, Tyler Moore giving them power and a big 3-run shot there.
Dan Jennings on his way out.
86 was the velocity. Let's see where it is. Inside. Get that cutter inside. It didn't get inside.
Yeah, dead center. That's 3 home runs from those first basemen. 2 by Moore, 1 by Robinson in this series. And it's 7-2 Washington. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the pen. And this one has taken a quick turn in Washington's direction. Scott McGuff will take over.
3-run homers have a way of changing not only a major league game, any game, quickly.
Nicolino, who pitched at times quite well, and you know, you think about the ball that Harper hit, even the ball that Worth hit back in the first.
It's an outing that you'll look at the bottom line and you'll look at his line in this game, and to me it's just not going to show how he pitched. I thought he pitched a lot better, but the 3-run homer hurt.
McGuff to face Trey Turner. There are 2 outs, and McGuff gets a strike. And so National fans are starting to feel a lot better about things, even though they've got a long way to go. If the Nationals win this ball game, they will have won 7 of their last 8. Now, it would have served them better to have had that streak 2 weeks ago when the Mets were beating their brains out and coming from behind and sinking the bullpen every night. But at least they're putting some pressure on the Mets, who play tonight at home against the Yankees. Turner pulls it foul.
And we've talked about this, and I'm sure Terry Collins has talked to his players about it. All the Mets have to do is just try to take care of business and not worry about this game, the Nationals games, what they do next week.
That's easy to say when the lead is 7. If it gets a little further down, be it 5 or 4 or 3, it's really hard not to think about.
Well, it's really the same for the Nationals too. They have to, you know, they can't look at how far they are behind. They have to just go each game.
Turner walks. St. Louis has clinched a postseason appearance. They haven't clinched the division, but they are guaranteed at least a wild card with their 92 wins. Pittsburgh's 4 back, but the real race there is for the home field advantage in the wild card game. And if the Cubs keep charging, that game will be at Wrigley Fields, and not for the 3rd straight year in Pittsburgh.
How about those win totals in the Central? St. Louis with 92, Pittsburgh 88, and the Cubs with 87. the Cubs have more. The Cubs are in third in the Central and have more wins than the Dodgers, who lead the West, and more than the Mets, who lead the East.
That's a foul ball off the bat of Steven Strasburg, and a nice play by the young lady. And she makes a friend. Look at that little guy.
Some of the greatest shots we get all year are seeing youngsters get baseballs.
Strasburg, Ichiro. Oh, he thought about it. Ichiro coming in was going to fire it to first, but he didn't quite get it cleanly.
But the key was he thought about it.
He did. He did.
And I guarantee Strasburg knew he was out there too, because he picked it up a little bit and continues the inning. There's the bobble.
That brings up Michael Taylor. The other race is between the Mets and the Dodgers, and that's to decide
home field
in the first round, because by rule the wild card game winner plays the team with the best record, and it used to be you couldn't play the team from your division, but that's no longer the case. So it looks like an all Central affair.
I remember reading in New York some of the comments Terry Collins had about wanting that home field and not having to play in Los Angeles first two games, which would probably be twilight time starts, and having to face Kershaw and Greinke.
Well, those guys aren't easy to face in sunlight or under the lights either.
That's true. However, the Pirates beat Kershaw last night.
And remember, first round is best of 5. Odd things can happen in a best of 5. Just ask the Nationals, who felt pretty good about their matchup last year with the Giants, only to have that 18-inning game go sideways on them.
Yeah, it's amazing how momentum can take over in a 5-game series like that.
McGuff having some trouble throwing strikes. He's loaded him up, and here comes Escobar, who started the inning with a single against Nicolino. And Chuck Hernandez is on his way out. And a quick word of advice for his relief pitcher, McGuff, out of the University of Oregon. Former Dodger farmhand. Came over in the Nathan Eovaldi trade. Tomas Solis out there as well. So bags are loaded. Escobar has reached base in 5 consecutive plate appearances, a walk and 2 singles in this ball game. And this is an inning that just won't end for Miami. Tyler Moore's 3-run homer chased Nicolino. Ball and a strike. In a right center field, and Escobar is going to empty the bases. 3-run score. Taylor, the last of which, and he was flying all the way from first.
Well, the floodgates have opened. And a 3-hit day for Escobar. You brought up the point early in the game, Rich. Escobar a career high with his base hit last night. 162 hits now with 3 today.
He has been an overlooked part of the Nationals' success this year. And they're on the verge of winning their 78th game. 24 doubles. And now he's driven in 52 runs. Scott McGough will exit. And Miami will go to their bullpen again. A West Kendall Toyota call to the pen. The Nationals scoring 7 times. Rodel Lazo out of Miami's bullpen, and the lefty takes over for Scott McGough. And all of a sudden, the Nationals look like the team everybody expected them to be, and the team that they were for much of this season. But they've lost so much ground in the last month to the Mets. You wonder, and it seems that way certainly, that this 7-game hole is too big to climb out. But they're headed for their 7th win in 8 games. And here is Bryce Harper, the probable MVP, who is 2 for 3. Let's throw in a Toyota Trend. For the age of 23, multi-homer games. Only Eddie Matthews, Bob Horner, and Mel Ott.
Bob Horner. Saw Bob Horner hit 4 home runs one day against the Expos. Harper in his brief matchups with Rodel Lazo, they've matched up twice. Lazo's gotten him on fly balls to right field each time.
Doesn't matter, lefties, righties. Although more power against the righties. Three and one. And Harper walks. So Jason Worth, for the second time in this inning, he's the 12th to hit in terms of spots in the order.
Well, let's see, there have been 5 hits. There have been 3 walks. 4 walks. 5 hits and 4 walks in this inning.
The 3-run homer by Tyler Moore, a big shot. 3-run double by Yunel Escobar. And here is Worth. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Miami's bullpen with Jose Urena up. High fly ball. Yelich surrounds it and makes a catch. And a long inning for the Marlins comes to an end. Nationals score 7 and lead it 10-2. Nationals up. Thursday, that Phillies series ends. A 7:10 start. If you're 55 or older, you get free tickets on Senior Free Ticket Thursday. Presented by Wellmax Medical Center. Or visit your local South Florida Subway. Get a coupon for a $5 ticket. Go to Marlins.com for more. Well, through all the carnage on the other half of the inning, Steven Strasburg is at 96 pitches. He's punched out 9 in 6 innings of work. This probably his last inning.
Now remember, we told you at the very beginning of this game, his last start he struck out 14 Phillies. Start before that, 13 Mets.
So 36 strikeouts in his last 3 starts.
You did that in your head? That's pretty good.
I don't know if it's accurate, but I just gave it a shot. And he's thrown 6 innings, so that's 21 1/3 innings to get those 36 strikeouts. That fastball is turned right back around by Rojas. And Miguel Rojas 2 hits in the ball game. Here comes Talise.
7 for 14 in this series for Miguel Rojas.
Getting a chance to play while Adeiny Echeverria nurses a sore hamstring.
Be interesting too to see how long Matt Williams stays with Strasburg with the lead that he has.
Talise cracks one in the gap. Taylor and Harper give chase. And it's Taylor.
Taylor covers a lot of ground, doesn't he?
He does. He's a really intriguing player to me. Because he can play center field and play it well. He's got speed. He can steal bases. And he has power. We've seen him hit home runs this year. And he's really getting his first taste of the big leagues. So Strasburg now will face JT Realmuto. I wonder if somewhere Bud Black isn't watching this ball game. Bud Black, a San Diego State product, and he and Strasburg know each other quite well. You wonder where Bud Black will be next year. Highly regarded, well respected.
I am going to guess.
That's in the air. Turner motors over.
I'm going to guess, Rich, that we see Bud Black next year either as a manager or as someone's pitching coach. Remember, a longtime successful pitching coach with Mike Scioscia. Now, I don't know if Buddy wants to go back to that to be a pitching coach if he still wants to manage, but I would imagine we're going to see him next year.
Now D. Gordon is 1 for 3.
By the way, you saw a little bit of that closing speed of Trey Turner chasing down that pop fly.
Gordon takes out. Strasburg at 105 pitches. Last year, a heavy workload for Strasburg. He made 34 starts, 215 innings.
Led the league in strikeouts.
A couple of issues this year have limited him to 21 starts. Missed most of July. Steve McCatty, pitching coach for the Nationals. Two balls, 2 strikes.
I think the off day will serve D. Gordon well. Talk about how he plays so hard.
Steven Strasburg, his 10th strikeout, and he leaves the mound. For the first time in his career, double-digit strikeouts in 3 consecutive games. 37 in his last 3. legendary singer, singing not only God Bless America, but also the national anthem here.
Double duty for Judy Collins.
How about that? Back to the Future night, presented by Pepsi on Friday the 25th. Marlins and Braves. You can take a photo with the DeLorean. Enjoy a post-game fireworks spectacular. Get a game ticket, a Billy McFly bobblehead for just $25 at marlins.com/special events. So you have to have a special ticket to get that Billy McFly bobblehead. Marlins.com/special events. Steven Strasburg, dominant today, and man, what a run he's been on. 37 strikeouts, Hut, his last 3 starts.
Yeah, we saw him today with the fastball that was 97 in that range all day. He threw that hard 89 to 90 changeup with some terrific curveballs. Strasburg on his game today. He's been on his game the last 3 times. More than likely will win his 10th game of the year and also his 10th career game against the Marlins.
Matt Williams with his scorecard in hand, making an adjustment. Miami's made another pitching change. Jose Urena takes over for the Fish. This was a Justin Nicolino start. Scott McGuff tried to stop things from getting out of control, but they did. That was in the 6th. Rodel Lazo had to come in and finish that inning. Marlins make some changes. Donovan Solano ends up at second base.
He'll probably double switch with Urena.
Ian Desmond, Wilson Ramos, and Tyler Moore. Urena misses with a fastball. 10 runs, 9 hits. And the hits have been for the Nationals spectacular in terms of damage. 3-run double by Escobar, 3-run homer by Tyler Moore. Jason Worth, 2-run double. And then you mix in the sacrifice flies.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you give up the solo shot and it's not as damaging, but yeah, they've been damaging today.
A breaking ball for a strike. And down goes Desmond.
Rich, do you ever notice that we talk about it with different teams? When you look at Kansas City, who has been running away with things for a while, it seems like every day it's somebody different stepping up. A Zobrist, a Kane, a Hosmer, a Moustakas. Today, Kendry Morales, 2 home runs, 3 hits. He's hitting .292 with 20 home runs on the year. And Kendry Morales now has 104 RBIs.
It's a great acquisition.
Yeah.
And you're right, the Royals, they have a lot of different heroes and a huge lead.
Another fun team to watch in postseason.
0-2 to Wilson Ramos. Urena, a little slider or a cut fastball there, and he struck out the first 2 that he's faced.
I think important certainly for Urena, and I think you have to look at Urena and make a decision. Bullpen guy, starter. Where does the organization see him in the future.
I guess it depends on what you have as options in the rotation. So I think the thing that you get, Tommy, with a guy like Urena, if he's out of the bullpen, is you're going to get more velocity. Instead of a guy who's trying to get through 6, 7 innings. Oftentimes guys that go into that short roll in the pen pick up 3 miles an hour in their fastball. Talise captures that pop-up. And Urena coming out of the pen and throwing hard and getting outs. Urena, Tomas Talise, Preston Wilson. We were talking about starter versus reliever. What you got?
Well, when you see Urena come out of the bullpen, you're seeing a different guy. We used to see him pitch with the fastball around 92 to 94 miles per hour. He had 96, 97 right there. I mean, the Marlins have some interesting choices as far as what they're going to do with their pitching next year. And I got to say, that was eye-opening to me. I didn't know he had 97 in his in the club there.
And that's, I mentioned it. It happens to guys that are starters for a long time, Tommy and Preston, and you throw them in the bullpen and they're not trying to pace themselves. It's throw gas for 15 to 20 pitches and you're done for the day.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Preston, I had a question for you earlier. We got sidetracked on something else. You've had a chance to see this young player a little bit. What do you think of Michael Taylor in center field?
You know what? I like him. He does a lot of things well. He runs good routes in the outfield. He's got a strong arm. He makes good contact. I think he could be a guy that surprises people. I mean, I'm sure he's not surprising the Nationals. They know what they have, but he could be a guy that is one of those also-ran guys on this Nationals team. Of course, you got Bryce Harper. Zimmerman is still the face of the franchise, no matter what Bryce Harper, has done so far. But Michael Taylor is a guy that I really like. He has a lot of tools. He does a lot of things well, and he could open some eyes in the next year or so.
Ian Desmond, a nice play. Ichiro bounces out. Ichiro had struck out 3 times, and the significance of that ground ball to short, in his long career, he had never struck out 4 times in a game.
Yeah, just 20 times he had struck out 3 times. There's Matt Den Decker. Another move that the Nationals make here.
Christian Yelich now 10-2. Washington on top. Yelich is 1 for 3. 7 hits in the series. facing Matt Grace. Marlins left-handed bats have fared quite well against lefty pitching on this road trip.
On this trip, the lefties against lefties are 11 for 21. 11 for 22 with Ichiro's ground out. 12 for 23 with Yelich's base hit. So much for the great matchups. Lefty on lefty. The Marlins have done a great job on this road trip against that.
Now for the moment some of you have been waiting for, the T-Mobile Data Strong fan of the game. Oh, it's Stacy, our friend Stacy. How about that? And by all means, she is the Data Strong fan of the game. Without
keeps us up and running.
Without Stacy, we are merely
we're merely in
space
and somewhere.
Space and little particles of broadcast television going nowhere. She completes us. Matt Grace facing Justin Bour. Bour's 1 for 3. Tommy mentioned the Royals clobbering the Tigers 10-3. The Nationals still have to play Baltimore. They are under 500, but beating the Rays 6-5 in the 9th. The Phillies in Atlanta are 1-1, bottom 9 in Atlanta.
That was a good matchup in that game. We talked about Tehran. He had a perfect game through 6. Aaron Nola throwing well for Philadelphia.
Bour strikes out on a pitch that was out. But it's out number 2, and here comes Marcell Ozuna. Minnesota right now is cooling down the Angels 5-0. Bottom 5, the Angels surge has them a game and a half out of the wild card in the American League. The team that they've made up ground on, Houston, is leading Oakland 3-1, top 7. Houston right now the number 2 wild card team in the junior circuit.
You don't hear that as much anymore with so much interleague play. I think that kind of took away from the senior circuit and the junior circuit.
Growing up as an American League fan, I always took offense.
Did you take offense to that?
I took offense to that. Now, you probably took pride in that.
I took pride in it.
As a Dodger and a Philly. But how did you feel as a Blue Jay?
I was only there for a half year.
Yeah. There you go.
And regain that pride back with the Expos.
There you go. Yes, the National League a little older than the American League.
Thus the senior and junior.
The leagues, of course, used to have different presidents and different strike zones.
Umpires. American League had the big outside balloon chest protector. The National League umpires.
Yeah, and American League and National League umpires were separate units.
Which is really interesting. There used to be so much of a difference if a player got traded one league to the other. Not as much now because everything's kind of the same.
Yeah, very much.
Except for that DH thing.
More uniform.
Yeah, except for the DH thing.
Ozuna lines one into right field. Harper's not getting that one. It's going to go to the wall. Yelich racing around third. On his way home, and he will score. Marcell Ozuna with a nice day at the plate. A solo homer and now an RBI double.
And both the home run and this double, boy, look at the balance and the solid swing from Ozuna. Both the balls hit really hard.
And remember, he had a bullet for an out when he lined out to Turner at second base. Never get tired of watching Christian Yelich run.
Never do. Never do.
Going from first to home. Dietrich the hitter. Grace facing Miami's third baseman. Marlins banged up right now. There's no question about it. Martin Prado on the shelf with that sore wrist. Giancarlo Stanton has been out since late June. .26 doubles for Ozuna now. Dietrich pops it up. And Moore makes the catch. Miami gets a run on a Yelich single and an Ozuna double. It's 10-3. Little game summary here in the 8th.
Well, it was a day for Steven Strasburg, double figures in strikeouts, and it was not a day for Justin Nicolino. Big double by Jason Worth in the first inning brought home 2. The Nationals today would get some real big hits. A 3-run shot that followed that Worth double later on in the game by Tyler Moore. They weren't done with big base hits. They continued to pound away, scored 7 times in that 6th inning. Got a bases clearing double from Yunel Escobar.
Cole Gillespie in right. Casey McGee at first. Trey Turner at the plate, the Lake Worth native, is 1 for 2 with a walk. Now it's short, gotta hurry. And he's out. Rojas with the plate. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Nationals getting an at bat for their 3rd string catcher, Pedro Severino. Really good defensive catcher, the Dominican native. This is a guy in his minor league career who has thrown out 38% of attempted base stealers. That's pretty good in the minor leagues. That's really good.
Yeah, it is, because you have a lot of young pitchers that are working on deliveries, working on moves, so maybe not giving you a lot of opportunities.
Severino, left field. Off the wall. Yelich has it. Severino's going for 2. Yelich's throw this time. He's in there. His first major league hit is a double.
Boy, and he got it in his first major league at bat. So Severino didn't waste any time. Crushed one off the wall.
It's got to be a thrill.
We got that good fastball and turned on it. Thought for a second that Yelich might have a play, but the ball was a little more into left center, a little deeper part, and Severino ran the bases pretty well.
Taylor pops that one foul and out of play. So an off day for Miami. The Phillies Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Braves over the weekend. And that's it for home games in 2015. Miami then will jump back into the Citrus Series, Tommy Hutton, with 3 games over in St. Pete against the Rays. And then 3 up in Philly to end the 2015 season. That closing day a week from today, magnetic schedules will be handed out at Marlins Park with the Marlins schedule for next year. One and 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. 28,000 here at Nationals Park. At an NFL home game as well. I think he went, and he did. So Taylor strikes out.
Boy, Escobar with 3 hits today, scored a couple of runs, driven in 3. He has had 3 5-hit games this year, one of those against the Marlins. And we talked about all the other guys on the Nationals roster that hit the Marlins well. Escobar's one of them. I mean, his career average against Miami well over 300.
Ureña still throwing hard. Has 3 strikeouts in his short stint. Marlins getting their 3rd run in the top of the 8th. That's 7-run 6th. The difference in this ball game. And of course tonight, Matt Harvey pitches for the Mets, but how long will he pitch? Is it a short start? Does he go 4 innings? Does he go 5? It'll be interesting to see how that goes and how Harvey throws. If Terry Collins, say he's in the 4th inning and it's a scoreless game, or the Mets have a 1-0 lead, do you squeeze another inning out of him, or is it, hey, you're going to go 80 pitches and that's it?
I think it's ironic that here we are today, Marlins facing Steven Strasburg, and it's ironic the Mets are dealing with a similar situation in a Harper.
That's into center field. Another hit for Escobar and another RBI. That's his 4th consecutive hit, his 4th RBI. And he's reached base in 7 consecutive plate appearances.
With the injury to Rendon, Escobar was playing a lot of third base. When Rendon came back, they didn't want to make the switch. Number one, Escobar was playing a good third base. He was comfortable there. And Rendon can play second base as well. So they kept Escobar there. He certainly has shined, and he's had a big day today.
Bryce Harper pulls one foul. Harper, a couple hits, a walk. He's 2 for 3. He's upped his average to 342. D. Gordon, on the other hand, a 1 for 4.
You think about it, and obviously you have to factor in his age, but Bryce Harper, prior to this year, he did 270, 274, 273 last year. Most home runs he'd ever hit. He hit 22. Then again, he was 19 years old.
This seems to be the year where it all comes together, where the performance meets the promise. D. Gordon, by the way, at 332 with his 1 for 4. So he's 10 points behind this 22-year-old out of Las Vegas. That's going to be a base hit. Down the line it goes. Escobar on his way to 3rd. Harper's on his way to 2nd.
Well, not trying to pull one, not trying to hit home run number 42, just reaching out on a pretty good pitch, a 2-seamer, down, away, and just poking it up that third base line past Eric Dietrich. A double for Bryce Harper.
Matt Den Decker. Den Decker came in for Jason Worth. 11-3 the score.
Harper jumps his average up to 343.
This is going to end Miami's run of winning 5 consecutive series. The Nationals about to take this.
Yeah, it also give the Nationals the season series, 10-9.
That's into right field and a hit. Gillespie has it. Harper around third. And he scores.
Even Matt Dendecker, who came in for a couple of innings just to spell Jason Worth a little bit, he comes up with a big 2 RBI base hit.
Desmond hits it hard. Solano makes the play. And the inning is finally over. 3 more for the Washingtonians. Florida Honda dealers. That would be the Key Bridge. If you want to go have lunch and do some shopping, I recommend following the Key Bridge to Georgetown.
Great area to walk around on a day like this too.
Pedro Severino getting his first major league hit.
And he will handle the right-hander Joe Ross. We're talking about the Nationals taking this season series. The next time, Rich, we will be here at Nationals Park. It will be the 3rd game of the season. I believe it's the Nationals home opener on April 7th.
Oh, lovely. Will be 8 stories high on a chilly afternoon. All bundled up.
Yeah, dress warm.
That's the view that we have.
But we'll have an off day the next day, and then Saturday and Sunday games. That's after the Marlins open up the season at home against the Tigers, April 5th and 6th.
Miguel Rojas bounces out. You know, we've been here at that time of the year here at Washington. And we got lucky the last time we were here that early. I remember it was not bad at all. Tomas Talis. Marlins opened the season here. Is that 3-4 years ago? I know they all run together.
Yeah.
Especially at this point of the season. But yeah, we were here in early April, and we were blessed with beautiful weather. Hopefully that man is ready to go. He has such great numbers in this ballpark.
The interesting thing, I'm just thinking ahead. I shouldn't do this, Rich. But the Marlins have the Tuesday and Wednesday at home against the Tigers. And I'm sure the opener for the Nationals is not a night game. And I'm just thinking at our arrival time, when we play a night game Wednesday night at home, to get into D.C. for their home opener.
Which is a day game, right?
Which is probably a day game.
Pitch misses in.
But like I said, we have the next day off.
That's right. And all winter to get ready.
All winter to rest up. And practice keeping score.
Talis bounces one to third. Escobar across. And Miami is down to their last out. And here is Solano. Marlins Live after the game, brought to you by Checkers.
The 13 runs that the Nationals have gotten today, that's the most that the Marlins have allowed in a game this year.
One and two. Losing is no fun, and losing like this, you can tell, not a great time. Solano's bouncer is out to short. Desmond's throw reaches first. And the Washington Nationals continue their resurgence after falling 9.5 back of the Mets. They're off the canvas. They've won 7 of their last 8. The Mets' magic number is still 8, though the lead is now at 6.5. The Mets tonight are at home against the Yankees, and the National fans are hoping that this 13-3 win will bring them within 6 games. They'll need help from the Yankees. Bryce Harper